to the Unleash Success podcast, where we break down the secrets of success to give you real tools and strategies that get real results. And now, here's your host, Corey Corpodian.
Today, we are going to interview Vanessa Bourne. She is a fitness owner and really has been in the fitness industry for about 10 years in Pilates and recently opened up Box House here in Newport Beach. She's got quite an incredible entrepreneurial journey. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm really excited to be here in Box House. This is a beautiful facility, by the way. And I'm curious, how you got started in all this.
So it's been in fitness, again, a little over 10 years, like you said, and it fit in the fitness business, but I've been into fitness my whole life. Yoga at the age of probably 19, I really got into yoga. That was my first kind of dive into the fitness world and got, started doing like privates, one-on-one, and Ashtanga was my primary practice. And then moved into, got introduced to the Pilates world from there. But my original idea was to open a yoga studio. And that was in, 1999, 2000. And then I was living in Miami at the time, and I moved back, try to ask my yoga instructor at the time to let's sit down, teach me and, make me a trainer, get me certified. And I started kind of looking into like the yoga business and realizing that to be a yoga instructor and own a yoga business, really like you're kind of stuck with the business. Like as a yoga instructor, I think that a lot of it is based on like the connection you have with your trainer. And I love that. And I did end up getting certified and teaching some like private clients more so. But when I looked at it as a business model, it made more sense to do something that was a little bit more technical and that you can actually mold trainers and coaches and, build a little bit, scale out like a business, that you don't have to be at 24/7. Right. So, so that was where the Pilates thing came in. And so I discovered Legree Fitness, which was one of my first studios here in Orange County in Newport Beach. I moved down here to open it with a business partner and loved it. We opened up 3 locations over the course of, 8 or 9 years. And I just sold that business in February.
Congrats.
Thank you. So before I sold that business, the idea was to actually, because I was kind of getting like bored of just that business, and I kind of wanted to expand into a different like element of fitness. And the idea was, okay, well, what can we incorporate with Pilates? Like, what could be like a fun element to add to Pilates? Like, so we thought like, bar, no, boxing, yeah. My husband owns spin studio, so I couldn't do that anymore. Even though my original plan was actually spin, Pilates, and yoga. That was like I wanted to do like a 3-in-1 studio, and It was a little too expensive to do that at the time. So I picked like the best out of those 3, which was for me Pilates. And then, so when I circled back around to actually add a second element, I was like, well, what could that be? Obviously, it couldn't no longer be spin because my husband's been in that business now for a few years. So boxing was, like a really good cardio, a really good form of like empowerment, especially because Pilates is majority women. I would say 70, 80%, if not more women.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, boxing is kind of something that is a little bit intimidating for women. And I really wanted to bring it to a space where they could feel comfortable coming in. There's not like blood splattered on the floor, there's not like guys like drenched in sweat grappling on the floor or, beating the crap out of each other. It's,
right.
It's a little bit more of a chic kind of experience, upscale and comfortable and, it's attractive. And, I kind of wanted it to be something that women enjoyed coming to. And men as well. Men love it. I mean, who doesn't want a clean gym, regardless of the gender? But so that's kind of where the boxing came in, and I started to kind of look into some boxing studios in town. Looked at in New York, they were coming up with like a couple different Rumble is a huge one out there, Shadow Box is a huge one out there, and so I kind of looked into those as well. And I was like, okay, that's kind of missing out here. Like we don't have anything like that out here, and I started investigating and meeting different boxing coaches out here. My business partner, Andre, my husband was like, you need to meet him. You guys are really click. You'll love him. And sure enough, we did. And it was we just clicked. Because I obviously needed the boxer for my boxing studio. I was like, there's no way. How am I going to open a boxing studio? So he was the perfect match. And we really saw the same vision and really like kind of took off.
And
together.
I apologize because I think I forgot to say Acom Pilates, you also are an owner in that, right?
Yes.
As well.
Yeah.
And so you're still doing Pilates.
Yes, for sure. Still doing Pilates, yeah.
But why boxing? Well, what is it about boxing that intrigued you as like, this is a kind of a good addition to my workout regimen, something that I enjoy?
Yeah. Well, again, like the empowerment factor, the fact that, it's good. It's a good cardiovascular. Like Pilates is not based like in cardio really.
Yeah.
It's a lot more like stretching and strengthening exercises, even though, the way I like to do Pilates is a little bit more in the strength training world. Like it's a little bit more intense than, especially coming from that Legree background. Even at ACOM now, we still try to make it a little less serious, like have fun, like make it a workout. And, we're, obviously still following all the alignment principles and that, but
And I mean, I'll tell you right now, I did this class right when you guys first opened up, and I'm not a huge fan of cardio. Okay,
but it doesn't feel like
disclaimer.
cardio, right?
It doesn't. It
just
feels
like
like
fun
I'm just
cardio.
taking out a lot of aggression, apparently,
Yeah.
for the last 10 years I didn't realize I had. And I was drenched in sweat. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely just dripping. And it was such a good workout. I don't know. I think it was like 45 minutes of class.
45 minutes, yeah.
And it was packed. Everybody in there was just having a good old time. And it was really fun, actually. I mean, really good environment. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to reach out to you and even do this interview.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. My partner, when we first opened, he's like, he's a true boxer. He's been in the boxing world also for over a decade. And, when we first opened the studio, I told him there's going to be like 70% women. And he's like, we'll see. Yeah. And then when they started coming in, when we opened the studio, he's like, wow. He's like, and they really got it in them. Like, they're like getting at the bag. And I'm like, yeah, we have some anger too. But yeah, so it's a great release for everyone. And
Absolutely.
I kind of funny thing is I compare it to yoga after class. Cause I'm like, you come out just like, really like sated and just fulfilled. And I kind of feel like that happens at yoga, even though it's a completely different workout. Like it's totally like, one is like open your heart and the other one's like protect your heart. So
Yeah.
it's totally two different workouts, but they kind of end up in the same feeling at the end. Like you kind of feel like just super satisfied and a
And
good,
good
great
and
release.
strong
Yeah.
and powered. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, after sweating that much, I definitely feel very relaxed.
Yeah.
So one thing that kind of really amazed me about Box House in particular, Pilates has been around for a long time. You'd been doing it for 10 years before you opened up ACOM as a second one. And a lot of people know Pilates.
Yeah.
So to transfer over from Pilates, where you've got this great community and this core customer group, to boxing, how did you create so much buzz and so much excitement to get people in the door here originally? And then how do you keep them in? Like, how do you create the community?
How do we hook them?
Yeah.
So...
That was good.
So like I said, my business partner and I, we both have our own strengths, and I think that's why the partnership works so well. We both have a very good following in the community. We both know a lot of people, and some crossover, but a lot of different people. So, and they're both love working out. They maybe just love different types of workouts. So it was nice because we kind of were able to like blend both of our communities together. And even though, so there was some crossover, and a lot of it, with those crossovers, they were like, oh yeah, I know Andre. I met, when I tell somebody about my studio, I'm like, oh, I know Andre. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, how crazy, what a small world. So we ended up meeting a lot of the same people, like when we were actually opening the studio, it just kind of like the gap just kind of, blended, and it became like, now it's like this bigger pool of people that we can create a bigger community. And besides that, also my husband, like I said, has been in the fitness business probably about 5 or 6 years now. He's been teaching spin. He was teaching at Yaz. You remember that studio, Yaz? I was around. It was like yoga and spin or something.
Okay.
They started out in Venice and LA, and then they opened one in Costa Mesa.
Oh,
They had a couple
okay.
locations. So he was teaching there, and then he opened his own studio called Grit Cycle.
I've heard of that one actually too. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to be opening 2 more locations this month. So they're 4 studios in, and and they have a huge community. They're like role models as far as like, just like supporting their community. And like the charity work that they do with his business partner is John Wayne's daughter, Marisa Wayne.
Oh.
So they are kind of really linked up with the Cancer Foundation, the John Wayne Cancer Foundation. So they do a lot of work for them. They just hit $1 million this year, raising money for cancer.
Very
Their
cool.
event is this weekend, actually. So I'm
That's
pretty
awesome.
excited about it. Yeah.
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 So, I mean, when people come in here though, and they see, you know, this fancy box house,
Yeah.
right? Very different from like a boxing ring that you might normally
Yeah.
see, but still
That's
with
the
the
first
same.
thing they say.
Yeah. But I love it. I love the branding in here. You know, the consistency, the lighting, everything about this place it's awesome.
Thank you.
But what was the ideas behind it for you guys? Like, how were you able to? Sure, you get them in the door because you guys have big communities, but how do you keep them here, coming in, you know, every Saturday or twice a month to keep doing the boxing classes?
Well, like you said, that word consistency is a pretty big thing, you know, and I've obviously learned from being in the fitness business for quite some time, as well as my partner just being coaching for as long as we've both been kind of, you know, in the fitness community for quite some time. We've both kind of learned that consistency and just, you know, having like the best of the best coaches, having, you know, like we both had the same vision. Like we were both like, I don't want to go to a class. Like I started taking boxing everywhere once I actually like had the idea planted in my head. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go see all the studios and check out every boxing studio and see what they're all about, you know, from the
Some
grimy ones.
competitive research there.
Yeah. We even actually took a group trip. We did like me, my business partner, our significant others, and our investor and his significant other and his kids. Like, we took a whole big, huge trip to New York and went to see the studios out there, because I kind of feel like they definitely had the advantage of kind of starting off in this kind of higher end boxing world. Like boxing's been around forever.
Right.
You know, like somebody I remember came in the studio and was like, oh, well, you know, I just kind of feel like this maybe is a trend, you know, like I'm like, a trend? Boxing has been around, like that's the longest sport in the world. Like,
Yeah.
So it's not a trend. I guess it's getting trendy, you know,
right.
like there's like the supermodels are doing it. Like, you know, a lot of I forget which of the locations in New York, but one of them has like a lot of Victoria's Secret models that invested in that. So they're like, you know, that's like the big buzz and that's their huge following. So, and then the other one is like, Justin Bieber invested in it or something, you know, so there's a lot of like celebrity and like random, like, you know, buzz that has been created around just like the upscale boxing kind of scene. So obviously that worked to our advantage as well, because that's already kind of out there and in the press. And, so we definitely, I think, hit the market at the right time, especially being in Orange County, and there is no other boxing studio like this. There's the traditional ones that are, again, like those grimier ones that are a little more, like if you really want to maybe take on boxing as a career, like that's where you should train, you know,
Right.
But like if you're actually just coming for like a fun, great workout and to learn maybe some self-defense, to learn how to like feel empowered and confident and those kind of things, like this is the studio I think that you'd want to come to versus, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one thing too, is that I've heard from other people is just the instructors really kind of create that environment where people want to come in. They're really excited.
Yeah.
They're exciting to listen to, you know, and the music and the energy of the whole room. How do you guys figure out who's going to be a good fit for you? And how does it work when you're trying to get new trainers to come in here and bring in new talent?
So all the coaches, and that was actually my point before I got sidetracked, but all the coaches that we have are all like true boxers. They all have a boxing background. So when I did go check out all these studios, there was a couple classes that I went to that I felt like I was taking a class for myself. Like I could teach that class, right? Because it was like a really like, you know, young girl, like kind of looked like a Pilates yoga teacher. And she was like, and a one. And, you know, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in like an aerobics class, you know? And so it was fun, but I was like, that's not really like what I want. I want to feel like a badass, you know? So when you take from like coaches who actually are badasses and who actually have been in the game forever and who know they're like really true, they're true boxers. So that was the idea when I actually started taking classes with my partner, with Andre. Like I started taking one-on-ones. I'm like, okay, this is the kind of like, you know, feeling I want to give our members. And so we had the same vision again. We were like, okay, so every coach we hire has to have some kind of boxing background. And there's been a couple of people that have come through our doors that have asked like, oh, I want to be an instructor or, you know, and they've been like maybe in the fitness, maybe they've taught spin or maybe, but if they haven't had any kind of boxing background, at least for a few years, like where they've actually like, maybe they've done some amateur fights or maybe they're just been like, straight up boxing like 4 or 5 days a week because that's what they love and that's their passion, but yet they're, I don't know, they own a coffee shop or something, whatever it is. But as long as they've had some kind of serious boxing background, then, and they have the, the it about them that makes them able to teach, because I think there's something that also is hard about finding both of those elements in one person. Like they might be really good at boxing, but then put them up on a stage with the mic and they're like, So it's a little bit of a performer. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a performer.
Totally.
So he has to be like a boxer / performer. And I think we've kind of hit the nail with all of the coaches that we've had. And definitely I owe that to my business partner. He's the one that's obviously been in the boxing scene and been in the boxing world. I would have never known like who to pick, until I took their class, obviously. But I think that again, like we both have our strengths, and that's definitely like his strength with getting the right coaches and, getting the actual classes down and the way they're structured. We did a little bit of some mock classes together with all the trainers and some of our staff just in the beginning before we opened. And that we were able to kind of tweak little things that we thought like, I think it could be better this way, or I think it could be better that way. So by the time we opened, we were able to open up with like a nice solid like class. And there's still some tweaking. We added like, TVs in the room to show you what round you're in, because people were like getting lost. Like, what's the combo? Like if they ran out to the bathroom and came back and they're like, wait, what are we doing?
Right.
So they can always look up at the screen and it'll tell them you're in round 3 and this is your combo. So, we're adding little things like that. The book your bag feature we just added, which is a nice little element to, just the convenience of nowadays everybody books on mobile and books, last minute. So you're able to kind of open up your app. We have a mobile app so you can open it up, book your spot in class. Like if you like to sit by the mirror or, box by the mirror, if you like to box by the stage. Yeah. So similar to like the spin idea, but you can.
And it fills up a lot. And so I'm just wondering, do you guys see people come in and, they're coming in every weekend or every night, like have a consistent night? What do you usually see?
Yeah. Well, we have there's a lot of members, there's the members that follow the trainer. Like, let's say this is my favorite trainer. They're only going to go to his class or her class, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then there's, the people that are just like, oh, I'm going to go when it's convenient for me. So there's a different type of person. But I think the majority of the people all of our members are coming in at least 2 or 3 times a week. And that's kind of what we've been kind of recommending. Like, if this is the only thing you're doing and you want to come in 5 times a week, not to say you can't, that's great. But if you're doing other things, like it's always good to mix it up. It's, your body obviously like gets used to the same thing. And we don't do the same thing in each class. You do something different, even though it's, there's still like 7 rounds or 8 rounds of boxing. But the interval training in between each round is always different. You could be doing anything from planks to burpees to squat jumps to, slam balls to weights. So
you guys keep switching it up. I like that. Yeah. And that definitely keeps people interested. And you guys have been growing pretty rapidly, right? Since you guys first started.
Yeah, we before we opened, we did a pre-sale and we had 145 members sign up for like the unlimited special that we did.
Wow.
Before we even opened doors. So, and they were like knocking, like, when are you open? We were almost 3 months delayed in opening.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm curious where this idea, originates from in the New York space a little bit. And you've had the idea of creating like a 3-way with the cycle, which your husband does, Pilates and now boxing. It's like, why wasn't that here in Orange County before? It's like, what stopped people from getting into this?
I don't know. I think that Orange County is kind of a little bit of a bubble. Like, it's like, when we first came down here, my business partner's girlfriend, who actually I sold my studio to, she's the one that told us, you need to come down here and check it out. Like, she was living here at the time and we were looking at where to open and we were thinking LA, but that's where we were living, me and my partner at the time. And we were like, well, there's so many studios there. It's so saturated, And we came down here and literally it was like, I kind of felt like they were stuck in the 80s. Like there was like aerobics classes and there was like one Pilates studio that had group fitness and that was it. So when we came down here and then there was Yaz and they had just opened like a year before us. So we came down here and we're like, oh, well, they need this. They love fitness. They love working out. They love health. Like this is like the city to do it. And they have the financial wherewithal to be able to afford like nice things and nice group classes. And, so when we opened the Pilates studio out here, that was when I realized like, oh, this is the city. And it also is it also loves like new things. Like I kind of feel like they're sometimes sleepy kind of people kind of think like, oh, Newport Beach, it's kind of a sleepy town. But when you introduce something that's amazing and fun, like the people of this community love it. Like it's not, they're not sleepy. They love new things. They love good food. They love, nice things. It's just sometimes that people just kind of skip Orange County and maybe go to San Diego instead, so.
I think people get stuck inside their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And, this obviously takes people very far outside their comfort zone a little bit and gets them really excited about fitness. I'm just curious too, like how you guys plan on and continuing to grow. Are you thinking about getting into more locations, or how do you get more new members to come in? Do you guys have any like strategy for that?
Yeah, we do. Well, like social media is a huge thing. That's definitely something that, again, that's my business partner's strength. I'm not like a big like social media poster. My sister gave me a tutorial on how to post a Instagram story.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Quite behind the times on that one.
I knew it. I knew how to do it, but it was like, it's for me, it's just, I have so many things to do during the day that like, I posted this weekend, like a few stories, and I was like, oh, I'm on a roll. And then I haven't posted since then.
Yeah.
So,
they delete after 24 hours.
I know. So I definitely I probably don't have a story currently right now.
Yeah.
But I'm an old school. I'll post pictures, and I didn't even have a Facebook account. When we first opened our Pilates business, we actually hired a company to open a Facebook account for me and like post for me and take pictures. And, because I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know how to log into that. Like, just you do it and like, let me know if I need to reply to any messages or who's emailing me. And
I think that brings up a good point though, because for me too, I'm just not very, I wouldn't say good. I just don't do it a lot because I've got a lot of other stuff on my plate with social media, and I try and post more, but you've got to really work on your strengths and kind of
focus on those.
Yeah, focus on those, and then give whatever your weakest points are, let somebody else, like maybe your partner's really good at it, or you hire somebody. And I think knowing that and then executing on that is one of those keys to success as well.
For sure, yeah, because then you won't waste your time trying. Like, it'll take me an hour to post a story, where it'll take my business partner like 10 seconds. He's like done it and decorated the page and like,
oh wow, yeah,
so he's really good at it. He has a friend of his who my husband also knew, who's our photographer and our social media guy. He's been doing a lot of, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos that we posted recently. Griffin Conway, shout out to him. He's awesome. He's done, and he does our social media for Aiken Pilates as well. His photographs are like super great. The quality is amazing. He just like really understands the look that we're going for. And it's everybody's commented on, and obviously the fact that the social media has grown so much has to do a lot with him, has to do a lot with my partner. Our studio manager, Stevie, who you spoke with, she's really big on social media. She just started taking over our Instagram stories page because I kind of feel like those were slacking, and she's really good at those. So I think, collaborative effort with everybody, and even our staff, like some of the front desk people that are, pretty active on social media are always posting. So I kind of feel like people started tagging people and posting videos, and the room looks really cool, obviously during class with the neon light. So
the
it's
room
like
is really
people
cool.
want to take pictures in there.
I'm not going to even lie. If you scroll back on my Instagram, like maybe 3 or 4 months back in February, I think when we first came in, I've got a picture with my girlfriend with the neon box house sign
in the background.
And it looks awesome. It's really cool, very photogenic. Which is great. So that was part of the build out. Like, it was like, we were like, okay, we want to have places where people are going to want to take pictures. We want this brick wall. We want the raw ropes. We want, the logo in the background. We want a logo in there with the neon lights, but we wanted everything to look somewhat different. So there was different places to take pictures at, and different, I kind of feel like that is what creates a community too. Like, hey, let's take a picture together after class, so it's, all these little things that, the kombucha bar. So people kind of come over and we'll have a kombucha after and hang out for a few minutes and chat. And, it was just something to make it more inviting and more, Yeah, it's almost like a second home in a way. Yeah. I really like that. I forgot about the kombucha bar. I think that's a huge plus.
Yeah.
Right? It just brings in that extra thing where they can kind of hang out, for sure. Mingle, talk.
And we don't even have that big of like a lobby space, because obviously, especially if there's privates going on, there's not even that much space for people to actually hang out. But they do. They mingle, they hang out. Once the new class goes in, like there's still space, there's tons of space out here. So then they can, kind of sit and chat.
I think the first time we came in here too, when we were right when we walked in, there was somebody training, and it's kind of like, to have this boxing ring right when you walk in.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah. And I think obviously done on purpose, but it's so effective.
Yeah. Well, Irvine Company, our landlord, who's a pretty big, deal out here. They own pretty much everything.
Okay.
So they were like kind of against it. They were like, well, can you like maybe put it behind a wall or something, just so it's not like visible when you walk in? I go, that's the whole point. I'm like, what are you talking about? That no, like I cannot put it behind a wall. It needs to be like by the window. I want people to see it driving by. I want people to look in and be like, whoa, what's that? Like otherwise, like, when I was thinking about expanding with Pilates, and the idea was, oh, well, let me do Pilates and boxing. And we were going to move it into this space and do like a Pilates room and a boxing room. And then I'm like, well, and then I started to visualize it. I'm like, it's not, what is that going to look like? It's just going to look like a lobby with a front desk, and you're not going to see anything. And people are going to be like, what? They're not even going to know what that is. I was like, scratch it, forget it, leave Pilates where it is. It's actually right across the street, by the way. The one I sold, I'm like, leave it where it is. It's not broken. Don't try to fix it, and just do boxing here, And
this really makes a statement too.
Yeah.
We were talking about kind of different strengths. I wanted to ask you what you thought your strengths as an entrepreneur are, and are some good quality characteristics for other entrepreneurs to have and to kind of create that really help you along your journey.
Focus. I'm super organized. Like I'm very detail oriented. I envision stuff, and I really believe big on manifestation. So I think about an idea, and it's just like I drill it in my head, and it's going to happen. So it's not like, is it going to happen or is it not going to happen? Like, this is what I want. This is what's going to happen, and having that certainty in your idea and your vision is what will make it come to life. When you're
I agree. I think that I say this a lot, is that for me, it's, if I'm willing to work hard enough, I can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
So if I really want something bad enough, I'm willing to work for as hard or as long as I need to until I get it done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that. And I'm just curious too, when you talk about vision, because people will say like, oh, I see myself doing that, and I understand manifestation. But at the same time, if you have a vision and you don't take any action on it, you're not going to go very far, right?
Well, obviously, you can't just sit there and think about it all day and it's going to come.
Some people are like, oh, I just wish it happened.
If somebody's out there doing that, please let me know.
Right, I'd love it too. Let me win the lottery while we're at it. But I was wondering is like, you create a crystal clear vision in your mind. Do you write it down?
Yeah.
Do you write it out? What do you do?
Yeah, I write it out. I say it out loud because I think, words are very powerful. And once you say something,
I agree.
Yeah, when somebody's like, down about something, and I have a friend that was like, I'm just, my health is just this and that. And I'm like, well, stop complaining about it. Stop saying that and start talking about how healthy you are and how great you feel and da, da, da. And she's like, but I don't. And I go, yeah, but just say it and you will, so, and maybe stop drinking so much wine, or, so like, little things like that obviously, like, yes, you can't just say things and they'll happen if you're going to,
right.
You need to act on the things you're saying. But I also believe that once you start saying those things, you start believing them, and then you start doing things that actually turn into what you're saying. So, if you're saying something and doing something else, like your brain is it's gonna have a little, short circuit. Like it's gonna realize that something's not right. So you're gonna do one thing or the other to adjust that and correct it.
Exactly. I mean, I talk about this all the time. It's just an internal struggle that we go through when we want something, or we say we want something, but we maybe don't really want it or don't believe that we can get it. And so we take an action that's the complete opposite.
Right.
All the time you're like, well, what are you talking about?
Yeah, especially in the past. When you think of things you've done before, you're like, oh, well, why did I do that? Like,
yeah, and people will say, oh, I want to start a business. I hear this a lot. Just if you talk to like the younger entrepreneurs, like, oh, I want to be successful. I really want to start a business. What are you doing going out every weekend then? Like, what are you? Are you not focused? And that actually brings up another question, because people are always like, how do I stay focused? How do you stay focused?
Well, it's harder now because I have a little one.
How old is you have a son?
Yeah, a son. He's going to be 3 in July, at the end of July.
Oh, cool.
And obviously he's my main focus. As long as he's happy, I'm happy. But he's definitely, the light of my life. I do everything for him. So whenever I am doing something, even work wise, I know that it's, for our future, for his future. And I also make sure that I try my best to organize my time, because obviously time is very valuable. And being that I have this business as well as the other business, they both opened within about a month and a half of each other.
Wow.
And it was a tough year this year.
And your son's not even 3, so he's in his terrible 2s right now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hopefully he's a nice kid.
He's a really good kid. Yeah.
But this
he's
is
really,
like the tougher time, right?
But now they say that's like a teenage 3s are coming, so I'm scared.
Oh, man.
So, and I see it actually more than the terrible 2s. The terrible 2s, I kind of feel like didn't happen.
Didn't happen?
No, but
you're
the
gonna get
teenage
worse than
3s, I think, might be coming. So, but keeping focus is just being really organized. Like my husband and I actually have like our own calendars, on our phone. And then we have a shared family calendar as well. So we, make sure that we put in like things that like we both have to do, or we put in each other's schedule into that calendar. That takes 2 calendars basically to like make sure like we don't like mess up our week, and, stay organized and stay focused, and are able to, and we both want to spend a lot of time with our son. So we try to make sure that either one of us is with him, like we don't really like leaving him with nannies or anything like that. He's started school this year, so that's always nice. Gives us some time in the morning to get stuff done. But I think helping you stay focused is also just getting organized in your day, and making sure that you make time for everything that's important to you. And also making time for rest, sleep, eating.
Gosh, I'm just thinking about your average day, owning 2 businesses, a 2-year-old, and
my husband also owns business. Yeah,
he owns a business. It's like, how do you have any time to breathe?
Yeah.
And so you must be so organized. I'm just curious what your like daily routine is. Do you sleep or?
I do. I love my sleep, but I am a night owl.
Okay.
So I feel like I get my best work done at night. Like right now, if we weren't having this interview, my son's probably sleeping right now. So I'd be on my laptop doing emails, spreadsheets, whatever it is that I'm doing at night. Like I'm on the computer. Probably that's my husband's biggest complaint, actually, because obviously that's like our time.
Right.
So I do try to limit that to at least like just a couple nights a week versus every night, like I used to do when we were opening and launching. And he kind of understood like, okay, you're opening, but like once that gets going, like you need to like slow this down. So I do try to organize it and keep it just a couple nights a week. And really, if there's something that I feel like I could do the next day, I'll just wait and do it, during the time when my son's in school. So, but yeah, my day is pretty crazy. It starts off breakfast every morning. I cook every morning for breakfast. We don't.
Really?
Yeah. Hot food, like on the pan.
So you're a night owl. So what time do you usually wake up then? Do you get
7?
7?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like,
Oh yeah, I don't sleep in. Like
Yeah.
I don't have the luxury of sleeping in. I have a 3-year-old.
I know, right?
So I do wake up pretty early. 7. He's actually likes to sleep too. So usually 7 is the earliest he'll get up. So he's my alarm clock. I will set it sometimes now because he has been known to sleep until 8:30.
Oh wow.
And then if that happens, then my whole day is like, whoa, where did it go? Like it just flies by. So I usually do set my alarm at least at 7:15, and then I'll wake up, make us breakfast, and his school starts at 9, so we alternate who takes him. So on the days that my husband takes him, I'll be able to get out and either come to Box House or Eckham and start, just working and getting organized for whatever it is that we're doing. Like this week, we're focusing on our event, and we just launched a new sale. We're launching a kids class this month at Box House.
Oh, wow.
We're at Eckham, we're doing a new addition. We're thinking about adding a new private room in there. We're also, the retail shop at Eckham is big, and it's like a nice big store at the front. There's a huge lobby, so we're kind of just shifting our focus. Like our classes are doing really well, but now we're trying to kind of shift the focus to the retail side because it's actually like a store too. So we're maybe even adding like an espresso bar on top of the kombucha that we have there as well, and making it a little bit more of a hangout. There's showers, lockers, a yoga studio, childcare room.
It's like a day spa almost.
Yeah.
Like, you're going in, instead of doing, getting a massage, you're doing some Pilates.
Yeah. Pilates, you can have a kombucha, you can go to yoga class, your kid's in the childcare room, there's no worries, they're with you, and then you can shower, hang out. And
it sounds to me like you guys have tapped into this experience that people just want to spend their, Saturdays with you, or, come in on a Monday night. And I'm just super impressed. And I guess it's like, how did you figure it out? Lots of trial and error, or
No, I just kind of went with what I would want. And even my old studio, it was super simple. Like it was only 1,200 square feet. There was 10 machines, one bathroom, a tiny little desk, like just pop-up desk. And I was 28 years old at the time. And that's all I wanted to work out and get out, and that was like 50 minutes and then out. So I kind of feel like it's my lifestyle now is a little bit more like what my Pilates studio is. Like I have a child, I need child care. I want to be able to shower after workout. If I have to run somewhere with my kid after, so it's kind of become a little bit more of like what I like. And then same with this boxing studio. It's like, where would I want to go boxing? Like, I don't mind going to those grimy, bloody places, cause I'm not like intimidated by them per se. Like I'm okay. I'm tough. I feel like I can go to those places and not be scared. Yeah. But again, like I prefer to come to somewhere like this. So, and I kind of feel like the majority of the women in this neighborhood and in our town, like also prefer that. So
that's interesting too, is just knowing your demographic.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what age range do you see? Do you see like a lot of moms or?
Yeah. Anywhere from 16, 15 to 65.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are really tapping into everybody here.
Yeah.
Getting into the excitement. I mean,
and then the majority maybe 30 to 50, but yeah, like anywhere from, like a lot of the moms will say, oh, I want my son to come with me. He's 15 or 14. So a lot of the moms have been asking also, I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, are you, so that's why we brought that kids boxing class. So we're starting, it's called a summer camp. We're calling it a summer camp. And
so just listening to your customers and what they want.
Yeah.
And
so that comes with like the whole, like, being like a tight knit community, like all the trainers, like, they're very into like getting to know the members, and they'll even like kind of, if they see a member that they have coming in all the time, they'll be like, oh, that's maybe not on a membership package yet. They'll invite them in and have them be their guests because they're allowed a guest or two per class. So a lot of them will invite a guest or two into their class, and as a way to just kind of get them, into the groove of the workout and into the,
Do you guys have like a community where people can reach out to each other, or do they kind of just meet by the kombucha bar?
They meet by the kombucha bar, but they also like on social media, I think it's pretty big. They a lot of people have direct messaged each other, through that. And we're doing a lot of highlights on some of our members, which is like that video we posted recently with Christine. We did another post with one of our other clients, Hoda, who's
That's really cool. So you guys actually highlight specific members and kind of show their journey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like Christine had a really awesome video posted recently and kind of talked about her passion, and, she's a nurse. And then another client. We've just kind of we just started that like this last few weeks. So you kind of can see that on our recent stories, or on our recent posts, I should say. And it's nice to just, as a member, because I've also been in the fitness, and I've also taken like, not just because I have a boxing studio and a Pilates studio, I also like to do workouts anywhere else. Like I love trying out new things. And if there's a new kind of fitness concept, I'll go check it out because I'm interested and I want to try it, and maybe I'll love it. There's a couple things that like, bug my back, so I can't really do everything, but I'll try it. I definitely like.
Yeah, sorry. I was just like coughing a little bit. No, I get it with the back too. Like sometimes you can't always do everything.
Yeah,
but
can't do everything, especially at our age.
So I kind of wanted to go into just also building the brand in here and the design that you guys here. And the design with the studio, the room. Yeah. What was the inspiration for that? And, why did you guys feel like this was needed in this area?
Well, the room itself. So if like normal boxing studios, I kind of feel like everything is out in the open, right? It's usually like a warehouse style. Like there's a ring in one corner, there's the bags hanging over here, and then there's like mats where they're, rolling around on, and everything is just like in one big open space. And you hear like a lot of hitting and oohing and ahhing, and then, nobody has their own kind of like intimate space. So the idea behind having the room kind of blocked off and dimmer, and kind of making everybody feel like they're in their own little world. So, and it's intimate. It's only 20 bags in there. The most that we're considering doing in our future locations would be 30. A lot of the other boxing studios that like we went to see in New York, they're like at 60.
Wow.
They're like bigger than a spin studio. So like, you're not really getting like that, like instruction, you're not really getting that attention. So, we want to keep it pretty intimate. And again, being that it's intimate, the instructor can kind of walk around and do some one-on-one stuff with you and at your bag and kind of connect with each and every person that's in that room. But at the same time, with the dimmer lights and the setting of that room and the different, LED lights that come on and off, you can kind of feel like you're in your own world. There's, I think, the second to last round or so, the coaches turn off the neon light because the neon light's pretty bright in there. They turn off the neon light and you're just left with the LED mirror lights that are in there. And it kind of just like, I don't know, like people have come out saying that they cried during that, round because it's like, because, you kind of like, and what the coaches like kind of get you to feel, is all right, like this is it. Like this is the round that you're going to, let this go and let that go or let your day go or let what, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the round, and it gets like dim and you kind of feel like it's you and your bag and nobody else. So that's kind of the setting that we wanted to create in there.
Did you guys script totally that different. Or like it just kind of evolved? It
evolved like the class, the class started with the neon light on the whole time. And then my partner, Andre, tried it on one of the classes and I was in it and I was like, I love when you turned off the light. That was amazing, And he's like, all right, we're putting that in with all the trainers. We're just going to make sure that they do that on the 7th round. I think they call it the championship rounds. So,
well, it's great. Like, I mean, literally you're not just doing a boxing and an exercise, you're getting into the mind and kind of like letting it all go. What you said right there, I was like, oh man, I just feel relaxed. It's like thinking about back to the class. I'm trying to think back if they turned the light off or not. I can't remember.
Yeah. But if you came in the beginning, maybe not. Like it was like a couple weeks into our opening that I think we started that. So
I just think that like what a great addition to take it to like another level to really fully engage all the senses.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And then out here, it was something different. We wanted it to be like bright and light and like pow, so that when you walk in, you feel like airy and light and open and not like a closed off kind of space. Like it was going to be more so a little more inviting, a little brighter. And, you're able to see like the people doing their one-on-ones here. We also have a class out here called the ringside class, and it's 4 people per coach, 4 people with 1 coach. So you get a little bit more of the one-on-one, like in some boxing fundamentals versus having to pay the $125 fee for the one-on-one. You're now dropping down to like $50 a session for a one-on-one type class. You're getting one-on-one, you're getting mitt work with your coach. And it's only 4 people. And a lot of times it's a group class, so it's sign up in advance. A lot of times there will be only 2 people in class. So you're like at a semi-private. So it's a nice way of kind of giving that option to people. And a lot of people have enjoyed that because it helps them feel more confident in there because especially if they're new to boxing, which a lot of our members were, then they kind of feel a little more comfortable being in there with all,
Yeah, definitely. I'm thoroughly amazed with just the growth and the popularity of all this stuff, and just kind of how you've taken Pilates and then started boxing. And it's kind of the signs of a true leader. And I was just curious what you think, are some of your strongest traits that really helped you create this as you like kind of lead these companies to their success.
Oh, some of my traits.
Yeah, some things that that differentiate you from other people, because not everybody can do this. In fact, many people fail.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess just believing in yourself, like just believing you can do it. I don't think there's, I mean, I know I'm special. Everyone's special, but I don't feel like there's necessarily anything like a secret that I have, or that, I just kind of feel like it's something that I believed I can do. I know I'm good at, like, I know I know that I know my strengths after, being in the business for so many years. And I know what a good fitness class feels like,
Yeah.
So,
curious too, then, quick question for you is, did you always want to be an entrepreneur? Did you always want to open up your own studio, or did that come later in life?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Originally, my first business idea was to open up a pet accessories shop.
Okay, nice. Is that going to be the new line over here? No, yeah.
So it was going to be in LA, and I had a friend of mine who manufactured pet accessories, and so he would manufacture and sell to like the big chains like Petco and whatever, and he had really good stuff. And I was like, well, why don't you just open a shop? Like, because it was like, again, kind of trendy in LA, like it still is. There's a bunch of them now around. And he ended up opening it in the Beverly Center and did really well. So I kind of gave him the idea, and then I kind of backed away. I was really young at the time. I was only, I don't know, maybe 22 or 23. And I didn't really have the funds to do it either. I was at that time in real estate and doing sales. Like I'm pretty good at sales, I guess. So,
there you go.
But
Every business needs sales. We've talked about that before, but it's absolutely true. I mean, if you're good, and also I think you have a lot of passion. And I can feel that energy coming off of you. Yeah. It's like if I was just walking down the street and you came up to me to talk about this and I'd never been in here before.
You'd want to come check it out?
Yeah. And I think passion's huge. And
For sure. Yeah. Well, when you love what you do and you're excited about it, I think that is actually what makes something successful as well. Like if you're not excited about what you're doing, then you definitely need to change your direction and pick something else. So.
And I'm curious is just how you started with pet accessories. I mean, I get it. Like I sold baseball cards and I thought about doing a t-shirt printing company at one point in time in my life. How did you find fitness eventually? Because a lot of people they're trying to find their passion. Yeah. They're trying to find what they want to do. They know they want to go into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Well, I never really thought of fitness as a business. Like it was because I was always, like I said, part of my life, especially when I was into yoga, and I never really thought of yoga as a business. And when I started yoga, I just loved yoga. Like I wasn't really like thinking like, oh, I want to do this. But I was doing sales at the time, real estate sales. And I did that in Florida for a while. Then I moved back to LA, got my license there, did that in LA. And at that time I was like kind of over the selling. Like I was doing like development sales. Like, so I was working for like a developer and would sell this one building, and like the residential units in that building. And then it just got boring. I don't know. It was just like selling the box, like, I don't know. It was just not, I was like, okay, this is not like, it was making me money, but I was like, it's not really like something I'm really like enjoying. It was fun at the time, and it was fun because I was like doing it in Florida. Then I came to LA, so it was kind of like a new thing. I did it a couple more years here, and then I was like, okay, I'm over this. I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something else. And the dog thing kind of came around, and then that passed. I was with an ex at the time, and he kind of like bashed the idea. So I kind of like dropped it because he kind of bashed it, and I think that was kind of a little bit of a hater in him. So I'm not with that guy obviously anymore, but
good for you.
But yeah, so he kind of bashed it, and I kind of like scratched that idea. And then I got into thinking about yoga, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I can be a yoga teacher, and maybe I can open like a little yoga studio. It was like kind of like that idea, and not necessarily to make it a business or to make money. It was more so like, this is something I could do and could enjoy. And, as long as it could make me happy and make me enough money to live, like I don't need, and so it started off like that. And then I started I downloaded like a business plan app or something or whatever online. And I downloaded the software and started putting together a business plan. And then I'm a big numbers person. Like I did like a lot of math in high school. Like it was like calculus in high school and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So
hidden talent? No.
Yeah. So
derivatives? No, I'm just
So I do like numbers, but so I kind of started getting into like putting the business plan together, and that was kind of exciting. And once I saw like, the actual business behind it, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can, add a different element. Maybe I could do spin, and maybe I could do Pilates in here. And so I started kind of thinking about like a place that I would want to go to. Like, okay, like this would make me happy. I'd want to, take a Pilates class and then maybe do yoga one day, and then, and then leave. And the next day I'll come to the same place and I'll do spin and yoga that day or whatever, So it's kind of like the idea of like something that I would want.
Right.
And there wasn't anything like that out yet. And it was too much. It was too big at the time. And I would need too much money. So I had some money at the time, and I was like, okay, well, if I can put in half the money and I can find somebody else to put in half the money, I just pick one element and focus on that. And again, that was Pilates. So hence where that business came to life was my partner's birthday one night, me and her dad had been friendly because he had done some real estate. He was friends with some of the real estate people that I knew in Florida. And so he was like, oh, what are you up to right now? I told him about the plan, and he was like, oh, what are you waiting for? And I'm like, well, I need a partner to come in with the other half of the money. He's like, I'll put the money in for Amy, for my daughter. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Amy, do you want to do it? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, all right, then let's go. And then within a year, we opened our first location. So,
and you guys were together for like
almost a decade. Yeah.
Almost a decade.
Yeah, 9 years.
Wow. It's amazing how, just visualizing something, talking about it, and sometimes
it out
does,
there,
yeah, sometimes it does happen. I like that story just because a lot of people, they want to be an entrepreneur maybe because of the freedom aspect,
Yeah.
but they don't know what they want to do. So they're kind of looking all around, but you didn't give up. You kept trying new things.
Yeah.
And you were able to luckily combine your passion with something that also makes money. But you ran the business plan first. Sometimes people are like, I'm super passionate about this. I'm going to start a business about that. Does it make any money?
Right. Yeah.
No, but
Well, I knew I had to live, and I know, like, I like nice things. Like, I want to be able to afford a normal life. Like, I don't need much, but I want to have a good amount of nice things. Like, I just want to be able to be comfortable and happy and not have to worry. And
so you ran the numbers.
and I was like, okay, this could work.
Works. Super, super cool. I guess with entrepreneurship, you've been doing this for 10 years. A lot of times people kind of see this.
Old, I know.
I know it's all right. It's all right. We're all, it just happens to everybody.
Yeah.
I think 30s are great, for me.
Yeah. No, they are.
So far anyways. But a lot of people might walk in here and go, wow, you opened up this box house in Newport Beach. You opened up Acom Pilates, all within the last 4 months. It's like you're just an overnight kind of success. And they don't see the 10 years of hard work and dedication. One of the things too, we talked about, success, but also in order to get to be successful, you obviously have to go through some failures. As you were growing your business, were there any failures that kind of stood out to you where you really learned something from them?
Yes. When I grew my first Pilates studio, again, we got up to 3 locations, and I realized that, so the second location we opened up less than 3 miles away. And I was like, I was new to business. I didn't know, a lot of our members were coming from that area, from Costa Mesa. And they were like, you need to open one there. You need to open one there. It would do so great. And everybody kept saying that we need to open one there. I just listened to the members, I was like, okay, yeah. But hindsight, I'm like, well, if you're already coming to me from over there, why do I need to open over there?
Right.
So, and the same thing happened here where people were like, oh, you need to open. I'm like, nope, not opening over there. You can just drive to us. We're 3 miles away. It takes 6 minutes to get here from that location. You're all good.
Yeah.
So, and especially coming from LA, where driving down the block takes you 20 minutes. So, so I think knowing where, if you're going to expand, knowing how far your reach is, making sure that you don't come into your own territory and cannibalize yourself. Because I kind of feel like that did happen a little bit with that studio. It took a good, probably solid 4 years or so to actually get it to a place where I felt like, okay, now we're,
Wow.
Yeah. And
do you think that you expanded too soon, or was it just too close?
Too close.
Too close.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because we had the money to do it. We did we did great. We paid off all our loans and started profiting within 6 months of that business.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we were ready to expand. We didn't do it till about 1.5 years. And so we, collected our own money and opened it with our own money. And then the same thing with number 3, except that with number 3, we were like, okay, let's go really far down south, the 73. We opened it in Laguna Niguel. And I don't know if you know South County well or not. And I didn't really at the time, because again, I'm new to Orange County. I moved here right when we opened that studio. We actually still lived in LA for the first 3 months. And then we were like, oh, we need to actually live here. This is ridiculous, commuting at 4:30 in the morning to our business. So I didn't really know LA. And I kind of feel like I haven't really been a local until I met my husband. He is a local, and he really, I didn't know where Anaheim really was, or how close it really was. It was Orange County was just Newport Beach, Corona del Mar, Laguna, and then back to LA. I would basically just kind of circle this little area, and then because all my friends and my family are still in LA, so I'd basically be there almost every weekend. But we opened in Laguna Niguel, and when we did that, we chose a center that the rent was so cheap, because we were wow, it's we already have the popularity and everybody knows us already, and this will be far enough for people. We're not going to cannibalize ourselves, and we'll be fine because the rent's so cheap. Even if we get 50 members, well, that's all we need.
Yeah.
And so we did that and opened down there, but location is key, and you pay what you get. You get what you pay for.
Location.
Yeah, and you get what you pay for. So we paid cheap rent, and we got members that were, always looking for a discount, and and it was not, and the center didn't drive traffic. We really had to promote and hit the streets with flyers and go to neighbors and tell them about, like all the neighboring businesses and tell them about ourselves. And it was like kind of back to like what we did the first time, except the first time was like, really exciting and new. And we were like, now we're like, oh my God, we're doing this again. Like, I thought everybody knew us here. And that's not the case. Like you have to be in a location where you're visible to people. Otherwise, like, it doesn't matter who you are. They're not going to come to your center.
Ain't that the truth, right?
Yeah.
Interesting story. And so, I mean, obviously a lot of learning lessons there. You picked some good locations here. This location's great, right off the 73 freeway in a good community, good area that can support this type of place.
And we're looking at similar locations for our expansion. We're not, and we're thinking a little bit more, a little more spread out, because I think that's something that we could do, especially the way we have it set up, where it's actually like really staffed. Like the Pilates studio was me and my business partner, and like every now and then we had a manager. Like it would basically be us doing most of the work. Here it's like we have like 2 to 3 people at the front desk during every class. So I think it's definitely more manageable when you have staff that's running it versus like you splitting up in 3 different places. Like me and my business partner basically ran the 3 studios, me, her, and 1 manager. That's it.
Wow.
So like here, I kind of feel like, okay, like we have people at the front desk, like, and now that we're kind of in a groove, we have like their roles in place, there's a lead person at each shift. And so it's nice to have that and be able to know that that's something that we can,
is that something
model and duplicate in the next location.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was wondering, is that something that attracted you to entrepreneurship in the first place?
What?
Just kind of the freedom of like, being able to kind of manage everybody, put the right people in place, watch the businesses grow.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've never had a 9-to-5 job ever. Before, like I said, I started fitness. I was in real estate, which you kind of make your own hours too. And yes, I did have to be at the sales center, but as long as, I met people there and did my appointments and met my sales, goals, then I can go to the beach and make my, send my emails from the beach in Miami when I was living there, so it definitely loved my freedom and my flexibility. That's always been something. Can I do a 9-to-5? I'm sure, but I don't really want to, like, especially,
Okay. So flexibility in entrepreneurship is huge. Obviously though, most people who start a business, myself included, when you're working on that business, it's just all consuming.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a catch-22, but it takes time. The biggest question though is that for people that are in like a 9-to-5 job right now and they're not really enjoying it, what would you tell them if they were looking to start their own business? I mean, what would you tell yourself, 10 plus years ago?
The first thing I guess would be to find what excites you, whether it be, I don't know,
pet accessories or yeah.
I was very into dogs. Actually, I had 6 dogs at the time. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Traded them all in for 1 kid or what?
Yeah, it's like having 6 pets. No, no, he's great. But yeah, I mean, find what you really like, really excites you. What gets you up in the morning, and what if you have that 9-to-5 job, what are you researching online all the time? What are you doing on your off hours that keep you entertained and that keep you happy when you have this miserable job that you don't like? Like, what is it that you do that kind of offsets that, and maybe start to think about how you can build a business around that. Whatever it is you're Googling, whatever it is you're researching online, think about how you can.
And when do you take that jump? When do you say, hey, listen, like, I'm going to leave this 9-to-5 job and I'm just going to pursue kind of my business and passion, all the same?
I think fear is, a big factor in that. I think people, I think you have to, it's a decision you just have to make. You just have to like go in and jump for it. I don't know when the right time is. I think that's different for everybody, depending on their, living situation, depending on their family dynamic, depending on who they're responsible for. If it's a single person versus like, a dad who's working 9-to-5 that's supporting his wife and kids, then obviously,
it's different.
It's different. So
take care of your responsibilities, but still
Yeah.
Whether you've got all the responsibilities in the world of, supporting 2 kids or like something like that, or you're just a kid living at home.
Yeah.
We all have to get over that fear.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
I don't know. I still have fear though. I mean, there's still fear. There's still doubt, and when that doubt surfaces, I punch it down. Okay.
I hit the bags. Yeah.
So, but it's true. I mean, when the doubt surfaces, I think of what I've achieved and how much I believed in myself and what a great support team and what great business partners I have and how much they believe in it and how much our like members believe in us and how happy they are coming here every day. And then that just goes away, and that just kind of gets like pushed over.
So, I mean, I see that now, right? Where you've built something pretty amazing. And so you can be grateful for what you have. What if you haven't built it yet?
Some of the money that I had when we first started the business was my mom's. And my mom is, first generation. I'm first generation here. She was born in Ecuador, on a farm, no electricity, pretty poor family there. They immigrated here when she was probably I think 19 or 20. So she worked really hard for her money, and saved up, she gave me about $75,000 at the time. And it was like her life. So I knew that if I took this money and I didn't make it work, this is my mom, and so I was the pressure was on and I was okay, there's no failure here. So I think that it depends on the type of risk you're taking, and depends on how you were brought up as well. If my mom, had $1 million in the bank and gave me 50 grand or whatever, then maybe I wouldn't be so worried about it, but the fact is this was all the money she had. There was no more money after this. So she gave me all of her money. And so there was
a lot of faith in you, huh?
Yeah, she did. Nice. She got a good return. But
true businesswoman right there. I like it.
She did get a good return. So I knew that there was no way of failure. I just, I think I had more fear of actually not making it, that it trampled over the fear of starting the new business. And that, it was just more so okay, there's no way I can fail. This has to work.
Yeah.
So
I think fear is such an interesting emotion because a lot of times we're afraid of trying something because of the way we'll look to other people, or, that if we fail, we'll be seen differently or we'll not be good enough or whatever it is for some people. And yet at the same time, fear could be a very strong motivator.
Yes. As long as you channel it the right way, then it definitely makes things happen. I think, it definitely just channeling it in the right direction.
Right. Using that energy to a positive way. And, I always say I'm more afraid that I'll wake up one day and not have accomplished all the goals that I said I was going to do.
Right.
And so I kind of think about that in the future and then just bring it in now and make it very real. Kind of what you were saying with your mom, though, is just how you were more afraid of not being successful and letting her down and losing her money, right?
Yeah.
So it's well, that's not going to happen because she spent...
this needs to happen, yeah.
Right. She spent her entire life saving this and then she gave it to me, which very strong motivator.
Motivation, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. So this has been an amazing interview. I really enjoyed talking to you and getting to know you.
Thanks.
And super cool. I didn't know that until just now that you were a first generation over here too, which makes your story just even more like you're the American dream. You're living the dream, right? Just want to know, where can we find you guys online?
boxhouseoc.com.
All right.
And again, we're hopefully expanding and getting some more directions. So hopefully that OC will drop off and it will be just boxhouse.com. But yeah, so we're we're excited to expand and bring more of these around.
Cool. And if anybody wants to connect with you on social media, I know you just got onto those
Vanessa
Instagram
Bourne.
stories.
Vanessa Bourne is, even though I created a couple different accounts now because I'm like, I don't know what I want. I'm private, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I'm kind of juggling with that idea of, do I not make it private anymore? It's like, because at now I've been accepting people that I don't even know, but that are friends of my partners or friends of my husband's. And because I'm like, oh, they'll be offended if I don't. So I'm considering making it just open, but I don't know. But I still like my privacy. But just request me, and as long as you're,
I gotcha. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you guys have been growing through social media, which is probably why you get so many requests now.
Box SOC on Instagram is where you'll find us.
Box SOC on Instagram.
Yeah.
Perfect. Lots of good photos. You can see I tagged you guys in one of mine. I should have tagged you in my photo. I did. Yes, I did. Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I haven't been on since Sunday.
I'm gonna direct message it to you.
Perfect.
It was months ago, so you probably missed it. You didn't even know me.
Yeah.
Great. So
but now we'll follow each other.
Sounds perfect. What is your next level of success?
Our next plan here?
Just in life.
Oh.
It could involve Box House.
It involves even a little more freedom, because I kind of feel like this year has been tough on that freedom for us, especially as a family, and I'd like to grow my family. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So I kind of put the second on hold during this whole year.
One kid, 2 businesses.
So now 2 kids,
more businesses.
Well, my husband's opening 2 studios this month.
Oh my gosh!
So
you guys are
So we said before
awesome.
the end of the year, we're going to attempt to get pregnant, and then hopefully like next year things will be kind of like a little less crazy and a little more like rolling. So maybe next year then I could be pregnant during next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound crazy at all.
So that's my new goal, is to have enough freedom where I can feel comfortable being pregnant. Because pregnancy was amazing for me. I loved it. It was awesome, and I want to go through it again. I just don't want to go through it during a time when I'm like stressed and crazy and running around. Like, I rather kind of have time to be pregnant. So the goal is to make time to get pregnant.
That's actually a first for this podcast, I will have to say. But I think it just lends to the fact that, you can still be very successful in business and have a family and enjoy your life as well.
Yeah, it's balance.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for coming on Unleash Success.
Thank you for having me.
If you guys enjoyed the show and learned something of value, the one ask that we have is please go subscribe.